Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at the PowerAccess Assist. This is from SOG versus the Leatherman Surge. And this is also going to be a 2-month update on the SOG PowerAccess Assist. So I wanted to go over some of the things I found, some of the things I've learned about this tool, and just give you my honest opinion of how it performs versus the Leatherman Surge. All right, so let's get started first of all on the sheaths. Now, this is probably going to be the most uninteresting part, but I think it does need to be said. I was very skeptical about SOG's sheath. It has this MOLLE pouch, and the Leatherman leather sheath for the Surge got so scuffed up from me using it in my work truck that I was pretty sure SOG sheath would just fall apart. And I've been very pleasantly surprised that it has not. Now the Velcro, it picks up different junk just because I've been using it, but it has held up remarkably well. And just from appearances, now I know all I need is like some black shoe polish on this, but in appearances, it actually seems to have held up almost a little better than the Surge pouch. I have been carrying the Surge maybe an extra month or two, but both of these has seen remarkably heavy duty wear. I'm pretty heavy on the tools I use, and I don't baby them. So this is actual wear from using in the work truck, carrying it around, bumping into things, just the normal wear and tear that tools get. So again, very happy with SOG's pouch, and to be honest, I have to say that I prefer the SOG's pouch over the Leatherman Surge's pouch. All right, now as far as the plier functions, I think it's sort of a tie because I love how the SOG PowerAccess folds out so easy. I love the compound leverage. But to be honest, there were a couple times, and I still don't understand why, but it seemed to almost catch a little bit. Nothing serious, but it did seem to catch a little bit, and then it easily folded up. So I don't know what that is. I haven't been able to figure out why. Nothing's broken, but there were a couple times when it was just a slight hesitation in the pliers to open. But as far as plier form and function, they work very well. They have a very precise tip. I think pretty much everything I needed to use them for, they did a great job. So I feel like that was a big plus, and the cutters did pretty good. So I was able to use cutters. My line of work, I didn't need to use the cutters that much, but I was able to use them. Now the Surge, because I used it a little bit longer, I did use it for some very heavy, abusive, even some metal strapping. And I mean, the pliers are just amazing. So I have to say that as far as toughness, I still think the Surge does a better job. As far as ease of opening, the SOG, I believe, wins in that category. And I love that you can use this 1/4-inch bit driver. So that for me is a huge plus, a huge plus. All right, so getting back to that 1/4-inch bit driver, I find that I like SOG's design of the bit driver a lot better than Leatherman's. So I find it easier to access this bit kit. I have that on the wrong way, where it's right here. Because of how they've designed it, I never had an issue with it falling out because it has this lip and it sits in there. Now, SOG sheath, what I found is by the time you wedge in the file and the saw, I just found it very hard to want to add an extra bit kit as well. The pouch just got really tough. Even this sort of folded up. I don't like that setup. Now, for most of you, you've probably gotten used to it and you love it, and that's fine. But I'm just not a huge fan of when I'm on the job. Again, at the job I was working at, time was money, and so you always want to be rush. And so by the time you open the tool, you've got the bit, you have to change the bit, you pull it out, you're trying not to lose this, you pull it out. not a fan of the system. So I really like it when it's outside accessible, either the Gerber center drive or SOG when it has a 1/4" bit driver, just from the aspect of a maintenance guy who's on the clock. That is something I really found a lot better with SOG. Now, as far as the driver itself, it is a little bit hard getting used to this. It works. If Leatherman had an outside bit driver, I think I would prefer that. But since they don't, I like SOG's version better. Now, on the PowerAccess Assist, going to the tool set, I really like this assist feature. So again, when you're in a job, you're down in a basement, you're up in an attic, it's really nice to just be able to flick out the tool, get ready, use it for what you need it. And you can see I've definitely used the knife many times. And I found out that the serrated blade here, I could use for a wire stripper. So you're probably not supposed to, it's probably not recommended, but when I needed to strip the cable, the sheathing off of very low, thin gauge wire, this really works well. So I found this knife was an excellent tool, and I really came to love this option. Now, on the Surge, again, you do have the serrated knife, but again, I don't know, the serrations, I guess, just the way they are, I feel like it'd be a little harder to use, I guess because I'm right-handed. Anyway, and then the knife, again, is a little bit harder getting it out. Now, the Surge is an amazing tool, and I think it's heavier duty still, but I did find that I really love the assist option on the PowerAccess Assist. Now, just the SOG Power Assist, I'm not a huge fan of that tool, but the PowerAccess Assist, I feel like they've got all their ducks in a row, and it really worked well. Now, the inside tools, one of my big disappointments was this chisel tool. I really different times needed a large screwdriver, and I tried to use this for what it was not supposed to be used for, a screwdriver instead of a chisel, and I did end up messing the blade up because I was using it as a screwdriver. So actually, in my line of duty, I probably need a screwdriver more than a chisel. So I like that they add the chisel part, but that was one disappointment, that they didn't have a large flat screwdriver. Now the awl was really good. I like that. As far as the 1/4" driver, I prefer to use the handle, so this tool actually did not get use. Now on the other side, the can opener, again, I didn't really use that. I used the Phillips different times. I did use this screwdriver as well, and then even the micro screwdriver. I found that very useful as well. As far as the belt cutter, I don't think I ever used that, maybe on zip ties just to see if it worked, and it did seem to work, but by the time I needed zip ties, usually I used another tool because I forgot I had that tool. In the saw, I found I really did not use that as well. Now, one of the big advantages of the Surge is that it has these amazing pair of scissors. So that is something that the PowerAccess Assist does not have. I would much prefer to have a pair of scissors over the belt cutter, and I think that is definitely something they need to add to this tool instead of the belt cutter. Now, the serrated knife I use sometimes, and then on the Surge, one of its huge features was this blade exchanger. And on mine, I modified and I was able to fit in a wire stripping tool. But I do still have the normal tools that come with it, which we have the saw and we do have the file as well. So that is really nice that you have those tools on hand if you really need them. And that is something the Surge does excellent. As far as the inside tools, again, I modified mine to put a pin in there. I need to put the screwdriver back in because I don't really need the end pin anymore. But in its screwdriver configuration, I did use that. I didn't really use the wire stripper here because I had such small gauge wires. I didn't feel like this worked very well, and the can opener I hardly ever use. As far as the screwdrivers, I would use these screwdrivers different times, and they all definitely as well. So those all came in handy. All right, so when we compare one to the other, I have to say, after using both of them, the SOG PowerAccess Assist I found more user-friendly. So I found it easier to use, more accessible. I really like that it has the assist blades. I really like that all the tools are outside opening. That was a huge plus as well. And the 1/4-inch bit driver, and just that such a large heavy-duty tool. And I really found it worked excellent for what I needed it to. Now, as I mentioned before, there was a few tools that were missing. Didn't have the scissors. Again, a lot of people like the file. That's not something I necessarily use. But if that's something you would use for a work tool, that is missing in this as well. So I think the Leatherman Surge overall is still the best tool, but it is $30 to $40 more than the PowerAccess Assist. And so this is the more budget-friendly option. And I found that I was a lot more prone to carry this because if I lost it in an attic, if I lost it outside, if I left it somewhere, I would just feel awful knowing I had wasted, $130, $140 compared to just $100. So it's still a lot to lose, but this is even a lot more. So final verdict, it's really up to you and your job. The Surge, I feel like still overall is definitely the heavier duty tool, especially with the cutters. This is definitely the best cutters in the market, replaceable cutters that I know of, much better than Gerber, and Victorinox and SOG really don't have those replaceable cutters yet, I do not believe. So there's not really even any competition from them. So Leatherman still has the market on that. As far as the other tool set, a lot of them were fairly similar, the tools that I use. So it ended up being a lot of times basically a tie between the two tools. And again, because this was cheaper a lot of times, and because it was all outside opening tools, I just prefer taking this with me. And the sheath also I feel like is easier to use. Just for me, it feels almost a little lighter. And I really like that you have this bit kit that is just really easy to use. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.